The morning sun cast long golden rays across the quiet cemetery as a black luxury sedan rolled slowly through the iron gates. Every bird seemed to stop singing the moment the car came to a halt. The billionaire who stepped out carried everything money could buy, yet his face revealed the unbearable pain of a father who had lost the only person who truly made him feel rich. As he walked toward a small white marble grave holding a bouquet of fresh white lilies, he expected another lonely visit filled with memories and silent tears. But before he reached the headstone, he suddenly froze. A little girl, no older than 8, stood beside his daughter's grave. When she slowly looked up, his heart nearly stopped beating. She had the exact same rare emerald green eyes as his daughter. In that breathtaking moment, the world around him disappeared, and a mystery began that would change 2 broken lives forever. Before we continue this emotional journey, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to the channel True Tale Time so you never miss another unforgettable story. Nathaniel Cross had spent decades building one of the largest technology companies in the country. Newspapers admired his business genius, magazines celebrated his wealth, and television interviews praised his achievements. Yet none of those headlines ever mentioned the truth hidden behind his expensive smile. 5 years earlier, a tragic car accident had taken the life of his 12-year-old daughter, Aurora. Since that heartbreaking day, the enormous mansion felt empty, every birthday became another painful reminder, and every success lost its meaning. No matter how many charitable foundations he created or hospitals he funded, nothing could fill the space his daughter had left inside his heart. Every month, on the same bright morning, he visited her grave alone, bringing fresh flowers exactly as she had loved them. The little girl standing beside the grave wore a faded yellow dress that had clearly been washed many times. Her dark brown hair was tied into a simple ponytail, but it was impossible to ignore those extraordinary green eyes. They reflected the same warmth, innocence, and quiet curiosity that Aurora had once carried. Nathaniel stood speechless, overwhelmed by emotions he had buried for years. The child carefully placed a handful of wildflowers beside the grave before walking toward the cemetery exit. Something deep inside urged him not to let her disappear without learning who she was. Keeping a respectful distance, Nathaniel followed the little girl through peaceful streets filled with sunshine and blooming trees. Instead of returning to a comfortable home, she entered a neglected neighborhood where old apartment buildings leaned against one another with cracked walls and broken windows. She climbed narrow stairs and disappeared into a tiny apartment where an elderly woman welcomed her with a tired but loving smile. Nathaniel quietly spoke with a nearby shopkeeper and discovered the heartbreaking truth. The little girl's name was Alara. Her parents had died in a construction accident 2 years earlier, leaving her to be raised by her aging grandmother, Margaret, who struggled to survive on a very small pension while working part-time cleaning offices. Nathaniel could not stop thinking about Alara. It wasn't only her eyes. There was something familiar in her kindness. The shopkeeper explained that every week Alara visited the cemetery to leave wildflowers on the graves of children who had no visitors because she believed nobody should ever be forgotten. Hearing those words shattered the walls Nathaniel had built around his heart. Aurora had once said something almost identical after seeing an abandoned grave during a family visit years before. The similarity felt almost impossible to explain. Instead of revealing his identity, Nathaniel quietly began helping the family. Margaret suddenly received anonymous grocery deliveries every weekend. Their apartment building was repaired after a mysterious donation. Alara's school fees were secretly paid in full, and her teachers noticed she finally had proper books, warm clothes, and healthy lunches. Yet the generous stranger never introduced himself because he wanted to know whether kindness could remain pure when no one expected recognition. Weeks later, Nathaniel returned to the cemetery on another bright morning. This time Alara noticed him placing lilies beside Aurora's grave. She smiled gently before arranging the flowers that the wind had scattered across nearby graves. Watching her care for complete strangers touched Nathaniel more deeply than any business award ever had. He finally introduced himself, not as a billionaire but simply as a father who missed his daughter every single day. Alara listened with quiet compassion far beyond her years. Although neither spoke much, both understood that grief often recognizes grief without needing many words. As their friendship slowly grew, Nathaniel met Margaret, whose dignity remained strong despite years of hardship. She refused charity but accepted opportunities. Nathaniel arranged meaningful work suited to her abilities and ensured she earned every dollar with pride. Meanwhile, Alara blossomed in school, discovering a talent for painting. Her artwork captured bright skies, hopeful faces, and peaceful gardens that reminded Nathaniel of Aurora's joyful spirit. Every painting seemed to bring color back into a life that had been gray for far too long. One afternoon, Nathaniel visited an old family photo album with Aurora's mother, who had spent years volunteering in children's hospitals before her own passing from illness. Looking through forgotten photographs, they discovered something remarkable. Years earlier, during a hospital charity event, Aurora had met a much younger Alara, who had been receiving treatment for a temporary eye condition after an accident. A photograph showed the two girls holding hands, smiling beneath colorful balloons. Aurora had insisted on giving Alara one of her favorite stuffed animals before leaving. Nathaniel had completely forgotten that brief encounter, but seeing the picture felt like destiny gently reconnecting two families through an invisible thread of compassion. From that day forward, Nathaniel no longer measured success by profits or skyscrapers. He invested his time where it mattered most. He established scholarships for orphan children, expanded community homes, and personally attended the art exhibitions where Alara proudly displayed her paintings. The emptiness inside him never completely disappeared, because true love never stops missing those who are gone. Yet through helping others, the unbearable weight of sorrow slowly transformed into quiet purpose. He realized that while no one could ever replace Aurora, her kindness could continue living through every child whose future was changed by love instead of loss. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, leave a heartfelt comment, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to True Tale Time because every act of kindness helps these inspiring stories reach someone who truly needs hope today. Special request, please comment the word hope if you believe one small act of kindness can change someone's entire life. As Nathaniel stood one final time beside Aurora's grave under the warm daylight, he placed fresh white lilies on the marble and smiled through grateful tears. A few steps away, Alara laughed as butterflies danced around the wildflowers she had lovingly arranged for forgotten children. For the first time in many years, the cemetery no longer felt like a place where hope had ended. It had become the place where hope quietly began again, proving that love never truly disappears. It simply finds another heart willing to carry its light forward.